Welcome to another episode of Perfectly Twisted.
Are you having a good week?
I'm having an okay week, but something that was good is that I got the authorization to get my port removed.
Oh, really?
Yes. So, here's the thing about the port is that they sell it to you like, oh, this is, instead of IVs and they give you this whole rundown of like because it's a port and then there's a tube that goes into what's that main vein in your neck? Why am I blanking on it?
I
Your
don't know.
jugular.
You,
It
you
goes
put me
right
on
into
the
the
spot.
jugular.
Okay.
So it's kind of scary.
Yes.
And but they sell you all the song and dance of why it's important. It's been used only if you're doing IV chemo. Nobody else will touch it. I still have to go get an IV everywhere we go, everywhere I go, uh, and I have to get blood drawn, which is a lot. They'd still do it out of my arms and my hands. So this thing was only good for the chemo, which I understand because chemo apparently if even a little bit leaks out and doesn't get straight into the vein,
Yeah.
it just fries you. It burns you like bad.
Ooh.
Like it's a disaster. It's a disaster if it doesn't get all directly into the veins. So they should have been more honest about that and been like, look, we're only going to use it for when you're doing IV chemo because the chemo I do now is a pill form and a shot. So, and that shot doesn't even go in my port. The shot goes in my
Yeah.
stomach. So, yeah. So I got cleared. I just did my blood work yesterday to go get this thing removed because now it's more of a, it's upkeep. I have to go get it cleansed out. I have to get it cleared and flushed. And also, it's this thing, and you see this tube going into the jugular. And don't go down the rabbit hole of the class action lawsuits against
Oh,
ports
no, no, no.
and the terrible things that have happened to people from ports. So at this point, it's a problem. It's problematic. It's doing more harm than good, and I really just want to get it out. So yeah, I got cleared for that. So that's a win.
So when do you get it out? When does it come
Well,
out?
listen, I'm in this medical system. I just did my blood work. So when the blood work goes in and I get cleared, then the hospital will call me with a date that I can get the procedure done.
No,
And
I think I asked you when they put it in. Could you feel it?
oh my
Oh,
God, can I feel it? You can see it. Um, like if I catch it in the right light, I mean, you can
yeah.
see it. I want to try to get a picture of it before I get it taken out. But the tube goes here. This is the tube. I can
Oh,
feel
wow.
it. And then the port right there, you can clearly see it.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, you can see it. You can see it. You can
Okay.
feel it.
Yeah.
All of those things.
I don't blame you for wanting it out. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder what they do with them when they take them out. I mean,
You throw them
just
away.
you'd hope, right? You
They
know,
do.
it's not
That's
one of
great
those
that they
like,
do.
hey, you can get this one new or you can get a refurbished one. No, I
Oh,
don't
yeah, they're
know.
like recycling them in the
Like
back.
iPhones, yeah,
They've got the little bottle brush cleaner.
that's it.
But sometimes I freak myself out, like if I scratch or something, or like I feel like, what if I catch it and it
No
yanks
shit.
out, and then my jugular's wide open? You bleed to death from the inside out. I mean,
No
you really
kidding.
could quickly. So, it's a little bit more of a hazard than doing any good now. So we're gonna get rid of it.
With all the blood that you have drawn and everything, have you always been okay with like needles? Do you have any kind of fear factor of going, not fear factor, but nobody wants to have blood drawn. But at the
Oh,
same time, is it just one of those where you just go in and do you look at it or you not? Are you a looker or not looker?
I don't look at it, no, because there's no reason. I know what it looks like now. And the one I really don't look at is my the shot that I get in my stomach because the gauge on the needle is large. It's larger than any piercing I've ever had.
Wow.
It's a large, and they tell you please don't look. Um, and that's why they also don't send it home with people because it's just such a large, it's such a wide needle. Um, but you know what? No, I'm so used to it. You know what else I've gotten used to is all the tests, the MRIs and the CT scans. Like, unfortunately, I can breathe my way through those now because I used to be just so claustrophobic and I would panic. And I've just had to do them so many times that I'm just you become numb. You really do
Yeah.
overcome your fears of these things. You have no choice.
Yeah, you really don't. You don't. Yeah, the MRI thing's no fun for me. I become claustrophobic, like you said. I had a lady last week who I had to give blood, and I'm not afraid of needles. I just don't like to see needles go into my body. So
Sure.
I'll just turn my head, and I said to the lady, I go, look, I don't want to know when you're going to do it. I'm just going to turn my head. When you're done, you're done. And I go, I'm not going to pass out. Don't freak out. I just don't want to see it. So I turn my head, and she goes, 3, 2, 1. And I went, hey, what the fuck? Did you just count backwards? She goes, I did. And I go, why would you do that when I just told you I don't want to know when it's going in my arm? And she said, maybe I should stop doing that. I go, maybe you should stop doing that. I thought, like, I gave directions on, hey, don't tell me. And she did a 3, 2, 1 on me. I couldn't believe it. It was,
I think it's because they don't want you to move. They want you to stay perfectly still. That's also
yeah.
why they'll tell you take a deep breath in, take a deep breath
Wow.
out. It's because they just don't want you to move too. That's
It was, she's like, hey, maybe I should stop doing that. I go, yeah. And then maybe we should stop. It just was so funny to me that she counted backwards. 3,
right
2,
after you had
1.
asked her not to. Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't listen.
Yeah.
They don't
Oh my
listen.
gosh.
Yeah.
So that's well, good for you. You know, it's funny. I saw pictures of you. Also, you posted on social media, and I know they're everywhere now, right? When you sit there and you do like a red carpet event, or you do an event with the people that are very famous in Hollywood. Um, People tell me all the time. She goes, Nicole looks better than ever. Like it's amazing that you were sick a year ago. And there's people have even asked me, is she growing her hair out? And I go, believe it or not, she has cut her hair since. And there people are amazed at how you've got about this battle and where you're at now.
That's really nice to hear. On social media, people have been very kind and very complimentary. But I did this interview recently for Yahoo News, and I mean, these people came at me. They were like, "You're basically a man now."
What?
Yeah. And I had talked about not dating, like that nobody really asked me out. And let me be honest. It's not that I don't get asked out. I don't get asked out by anybody that I would actually ever go out with. Okay.
That's big
So
deal.
let's clear that up. I just didn't want to be mean to the guys who like do slip in my DM. They don't have a chance in hell. And it's one of those
I
things.
got you.
But there are these men, and who knows what they look like, but they're like, no wonder you're surprised nobody asked you out. I mean, I got so much hate
Wow.
over the past couple days, and I was like, wow, like that's just how horribly I've aged. Still
Really?
calling me fat, and I'm like, I am so thin right now,
Yeah.
but you can't win. You can't win with these people. Yeah, but I'm basically a man. And I'm like, what? I've actually never been more feminine in my life. I've never been more about all my female parts. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like everything. It's not like I chopped off both my boobs and all my hair and took out my uterus and you can call me, a man.
Yeah.
It's not like that. My boobs are there. They're getting a lot of attention and a lot of care right now. Um, they're going to look great afterwards. So, take it easy. Take it easy on someone who just went through chemo. It's kind of wild.
Though, the guys that do that, right, are people that obviously they're miserable. I mean, we've seen it before. I mean, you and I have discussed this where people write terrible things, and then when you call them back out, like on a just an individual basis, not broad, where they can all see it, but you go directly to that person, then they will all of a sudden open up about how shitty their lives are. I mean, it happens
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
It's pretty sad, but that's how people are. Like, hey, I'm hurting, so I'm gonna go and try and hurt you.
Right.
It's
Well,
kind of ridiculous.
I don't have time for that kind of
No,
behavior,
you don't. I don't
especially
know
at
one
this age
does.
and their age. Like they need
Yeah.
to know better. But the level of intelligence, I'll tell you, this one guy said she's one of the whores from Baywatch, da da da. But he
Wow.
spelt whores HORSE. And it took me a minute. It took me a minute when I was like,
Did he
oh,
call me a horse?
one of the whores. Horse. HORSE.
That is funny.
I thought that was good. Yeah, I'm a horse. A horse from Baywatch.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that. Honestly, I didn't know that was a thing. I had never thought the girls from Baywatch were whores. I don't know. I never thought that. That's
Well,
funny.
I think women in general are whores to certain men, especially lonely men or men
Yeah.
who, don't
Yeah.
get
My
it
gosh.
and they're
Yeah.
just yeah. Yeah, that's
Oh, oh my
a
gosh.
whole other problem. Okay, which leads me to I saw your post about Bill Belichick, right? And
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
his
I
players.
saw you called me out on that.
Oh,
Go
I'm
ahead.
coming to you. Listen, the fact that he's with someone that could be his granddaughter, that's that's a whole
Crazy.
other, that's a separate issue. That's like, I don't think that's why people are worried about him, Dave. I think people are worried about him because this girl doesn't give a shit about him and his career, his legacy, the respect. Interrupting interviews on live national television like that, like she told him to shut up. Um, that's what's worrisome. That's where the red flags are starting to pop up, because that's when family members start to worry, right? Like if my dad or my grandfather was dating somebody like that, what else is she going to boss him around about? Like what else is she going to take charge of and do if she's controlling his interviews?
So he's 72, just to give a background for people who aren't aware. Okay. So Bill Belichick, former football coach of the New England Patriots, arguably the greatest coach of all time, is 72 years old, got fired from the Patriots 2 years ago, and nobody hired him. And people were like, what do you mean he's not going to get hired? He's only a few wins away from being the winningest coach in history. He's already won the most Super Bowls, but a few wins away. But it's his demeanor, his presence, his brazen attitude that turns people off. And so nobody offered him a job. And it was really kind of bizarre when he wanted a job anywhere just to break the record. And all of a sudden he's sitting around for a year and a half, and he shows up with this girlfriend who's 24 years old now. Supposedly they met when she was 20. He was helping her. The story is he was helping her do her homework on an airplane. Okay. And she's now 24. He's 72. And Bill Belichick, in all honesty, is not George Clooney. He's about 5'4". I mean, he's very short, and he's not in great shape.
He's an
And he,
angry guy.
yeah, and and all of a sudden he's with this college girl. Now he has kids of his own, who his kids are probably going, there's probably some inheritance that we might be losing because our dad's now hooking up with a 24-year-old, and they're concerned. Now, the interview Nicole's talking about was on 60 Minutes. And that's obviously huge. That's a huge interview. And she is jumping in. And so he was recently hired as the head football coach at the University of North Carolina, a college team, not a pro team. And he's coaching at North Carolina, and she has a high position that he gave her at North Carolina. And so now she like walks the field while he's coaching. And so, let's be honest here. He's 72. As you said, her grandparents' age, not even her parents' age is what he is. The grandparents' age. And she's 24. And, she's around athletes now between 18 and 25 every day in great shape. She has to be looking at these guys going, I'd much rather be with that than be with that. My opinion.
Oh
But
yeah.
but everyone is so, concerned about Bill. Everyone says that all these random people, I got to talk to Bill. I met Bill. I can talk to Bill. All these celebrities, I can talk to Bill, and we can figure this thing out. And
Right.
so I said tongue in cheek on a football show, and this is where Nicole's calling me out, is don't worry about Bill. I go, worry about how you can be Bill. There's nothing like having young skin against your skin, is what I said.
Right.
And Nicole writes in the comments, I'm coming after you. And I went, shit. And I went, oh boy. Oh boy. Yes.
Yeah, because I think that it's not, I mean, this is all over the news. I think everybody knows what's going on here. Yeah, the fact that he is with a girl that age where they have nothing in common, let's be honest, absolutely nothing in common except this college now. Um, and that's just one issue, but the control factor that he seems to be under is what's alarming. And yeah, and I mean, who's going to be surprised if she leaves him for the star athlete? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
nobody except him. And like you said, inheritance, or she could spend it all before we even get there. You just like that's the alarming part. It's just he's a legend, and the fact that she had no boundaries and she just railroaded and butt into that conversation, that takes a lot of balls. And if you're treating him like that in public, like what's going on, in private? I think this is where everybody's concern is.
Well, the question also I wonder is he made her a public figure too. You know what I mean? He could have been his girlfriend on the side, and people say there's a rumor he's going out with a 24-year-old. He gave her a high profile position where she's in front of a camera every day.
Well,
You know,
yeah, but or she took it. She
and so
or
yeah,
she took that, and I think this is what everybody's concerned about. Did he do that? Like, he obviously did that because she wanted it and she asked for it.
yeah. I
He's
mean,
not forcing her to do that. It's
no,
obviously
I'm
something
sure.
she wanted, right?
And I bet you she gets a hell of a paycheck from the University of North Carolina. He made it so. I'll come in and coach your program, and you're going to hire her on at this position and this title, and you're going to pay her whatever. At the same time, he's worth more than $50 million. He has a lot of money, and so you could see a lot of what maybe in her mind. Well, if I pull this thing off for who knows? Let's assume they aren't in love. Okay, she's like, I pull this off till the day this guy dies, and there's something in it for me. I don't know. Maybe she looks at it. Hey, I'll be 32 years old by the time this guy probably could pass away, and I can inherit a certain amount of money. Who knows? Maybe it's a complete
Sure,
business decision on her end. And that being
sure,
said, I could not be with. I don't care. I could not be with a sounds bad. I could not be, let's say, with an 82-year-old woman. I just couldn't fake it. That's not me. That's not my. That's not my thing. And said the heart wants what the heart wants. I don't know. It's just call me shallow. I couldn't do it. I can have a conversation and be friends, but when you get to the sex part, I don't think I could do it.
right. But then you wonder, like, how sexually active is he at 72? We don't know. He might, he might not be all that active. Um, but also it's like there's no conversation to be had, and maybe she doesn't even have, she's 24, maybe she doesn't even have a long-term goal. Maybe she's just using this for right now and like, what can I get out of it for now? I mean, I don't know. And if she's really in love with him, I mean, that seems like, daddy issues or something. I
Right?
don't know.
Grandpa
At
issues.
24, if she was in her 30s, I would have a different opinion, I think. But think back to 24, what you wanted to be doing, and just the music you're listening to, and the amount of energy you have, and what your focus is. They're at such different ends of the spectrum in life. I mean, but
My
I don't want to age shame people.
no.
I don't want to do that, but let's call it for what it is. This is weird. And then the fact that she's she's controlling what he's saying in an interview, like, I
You know,
woo.
a few, a few years ago, he was talking about his players who were in their late 20s, early 30s. And he goes, I don't know what my guys are into. They need to focus on football. So all these guys looking at their phone on Snap Face, like he mixed up,
Yeah.
the different social media. Like he was so out of touch. And now he's with a girl younger than the players he was ripping for being immature. And, it's funny. My older sister is married to a guy now 12 years older than her. And she says to me all the time, he said, shit, I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Like, what? She goes, that 12-year difference throws them off all the time on stories he says to what she knows. That's only 12 years. And they're both
Yeah.
educated people. And like,
Yeah.
there's a big damn difference, 72 to 24.
Big difference.
I mean, she
Man.
wasn't even around in the whole. Remember in '99 where everyone's like, "Is it going to be a crash? Are we all going to lose our money? Are the banks going to close down?" She wasn't even around for that.
No, she's younger than
Yeah,
my daughter. She's younger than my oldest daughter, like,
yeah.
by a lot. Yeah, yeah. So I was like, you know what, Dave? You should get worried. Be worried with everybody else, because to me it looks like maybe he's being, used a little bit.
He might be, and he might be going. You know what? I'm 72. I got a lot of money, and I don't care about leaving it to my kids. If it means that I get to hang out with this beautiful young woman, this is worth it for me. Forget about Ferraris. This is my midlife crisis. This is what I want. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty devastating for the kids. I mean, that's their father and their legacy and their name and their blood. So if he were to leave everything to this young girl that could
Yeah,
possibly be in it for the money, that's really tragic.
it is. It is.
Let's hope
You're right.
that's not, you know. And maybe she's a good, decent human being. Maybe she would make sure that the kids did get stuff too. I mean, you never know.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he can pull it off at North Carolina. This will be his first year. Being a college coach is a bit different than being a professional coach. Even though now the guys get paid, it will be unusual to watch. But North Carolina, sports wise, has always been known as a basketball school. That's where Michael Jordan went. And to see the publicity that he has now, trying to make it a football type of school that people talk about, a school that people didn't talk about, will be interesting to see what Bill Belichick does, what kind of attention he has, and he has to win. I mean, straight out, you have to win. If you don't, they're going to say maybe he wasn't that good of a coach. Maybe it was all Tom Brady, and that's
Woo.
the worst when you blame it
Yeah.
on someone else gets the credit. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, maybe he could have gone and retired peacefully and not
Yeah, yeah.
and not put himself in this position. Well,
It's a good
Time
life
will tell.
lesson, though. If you treat people the way you want to be treated, right? Which everyone hears that from the time they're a little kid, he would have got another job, but he was an ass the whole way through. And when he needed another job, which is good as he was, nobody would offer him one. Out of 32 teams, nobody offered him a job.
Yeah. Well, speaking of assholes,
That's a great transition.
did you watch The Valley?
And so, okay, so I'm into the show. I said to you last week, I don't know if there's anyone on the show I like, but
Right.
I like the show.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your takeaway?
Well, we kept saying asshole, and it just kept making me think of that cast. Um, they went away to Santa Barbara. I really was disappointed to see this group of young adults, or adults, be so detached from any kind of spirituality. There wasn't enough sage in the world for that woman to help them. They all were so resistant. And then the one girl who's the friend of gets on and is talking about, well, I believe in God. I believe in this mumbo jumbo, spirituality thing. Well, what do you think religion is? Like, when you go and you pray, it's spirituality. Like, have respect for, the different, you're doing the same thing. You're just praying to different um gods, right? It really
Yep.
all is the same idea. But and they just all were so giggly and uncomfortable, and I was like, no wonder they're all basket cases. Like,
Yeah.
they're all about. And then Kristen crying because she missed her ovulation thing. um for anybody that's not watching, this is a woman who feels her biological clock ticking. She drinks like a fish. She is so wrapped up in stress and drama all the time, and she can't seem to get pregnant. Well, we know infertility is a huge thing in our younger generations, because of things that are in the atmosphere and in our diets and all that. But the one thing that they have said since the beginning of time is, don't stress. If you're wanting to get pregnant, you have to be calm and healthy and happy, and but just like anything in life, right? If you stress on it and stress on it, you're going to make it go away. So she gets so upset, but they've also been drinking all day, and she's crying and sobbing because her ovulation cycle passed or didn't happen or something like this. And I'm going, oh my God. There was just so much to unpack. And then Jack's rage texting from rehab.
Yes, that bothered me. I don't like that.
It bothered. And then I see Zach, the friend, on Watch What Happens Live last night. And he's saying now, because, obviously it's further down the road, Jack's got out of rehab and is worse than he's ever been.
Oh, wow.
And so he's rage texting Brittany from rehab, and it's like there's just no accountability. Like, absolute, he's there for the look of it. He's there to say he went there. And, magic doesn't happen just because you go check in. You have to be dedicated and like wanting to do the work, right?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the reason you're supposed to be there is to get better. Everything Jax does seems like it's about publicity. For himself. I mean, even I remember a few years ago when, hey, I'm leaving to go take a job working for the Tampa Bay Lightning, the hockey team in Florida. Do you remember that whole deal?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Everything is about Jax is so bizarre. If I was Brittany, I could take every one of these episodes, go to court for full custody forever. I mean, he's a
Yeah.
psycho, shouldn't be around kids. He shouldn't be around himself. He's dangerous, and he's addicted to the camera and the lights
And the cocaine.
and the cocaine. Man, the cocaine.
And the
Yeah.
alcohol. Um, yeah, right. All of everybody on this cast, not everybody, but the majority of this cast feels like little kids trapped in these grown-up bodies, and
You're right.
they're not realizing their age, and they're not embracing adulthood, it feels like. I
Yeah. That
It's
is
really bizarre.
It is bizarre. And the oldest one is Jax, who's what, 45?
Yeah, right. I keep
Yeah.
forgetting he's 45. I keep thinking these people are in their early 30s.
Yeah. Well, a lot of
They're
them are younger, right? But he's 45. I mean, the joke was that you're too old to be around us. Remember
Yeah.
on Vanderpump. But yeah, he's a complete mess. He's unsafe. Like, I don't know if you've ever, I'm sure you have. It's a dumb question, but I'm sure you've been in a room with someone that you feel isn't safe. He's
Yeah.
that guy in the room at all times. Like, I don't want to be around this guy because I don't feel safe in this room.
He's a live wire for
Yeah.
sure. And she seems just she's so past it, even, as they're shooting, even in the moment, because obviously we're looking back when we're watching the episodes. She's so disconnected and over him and past him, and her emotion is she's cut. She cut it. He's pushed her. She is a woman that is not looking back. She is never going back to that.
When she first came on the scene, and here's this sweet girl. She still seems like a sweet girl, but she comes on the scene from Kentucky, and you're going, everybody knows what he is. Like, open your eyes, educate yourself fast. There's a reason why everybody's giving you a heads up. What everyone's telling you is the truth. You got to see everything she gets right now. I don't want to say is you get what you deserve, but holy shit, the writing was on the wall, and everybody knew this is how they would have written it out. Is what's going to happen in your life, Brittany, if you go with
Yeah.
this guy. And this is exactly what's happened.
Well, she even admitted that, and it's sad because I think when you come from a small town and then you catch feelings for this guy, when you step into a scene like that, I don't think it's not as obvious. I don't think the writing's on the wall, and I don't know how much people really, like, warned her. And even if they did warn her, like, she doesn't have anything for reference, right? I mean, or she could have watched
Yeah,
she
I don't
probably should have
know.
studied the show. Yeah,
Right?
she should have watched previous episodes.
The fact you
Um,
slept with all your friends already before you started dating.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, there is all of that. You can watch the show, but he's a talker. But yeah, she's very, small town Kentucky.
And she's
They're
a
not.
hick. She's a redneck.
Yeah, she's a redneck, and no, like, no big insults, but, like, she calls Versailles Versace. That I think that the whole, like, not very cultured.
Yeah.
So, she got caught up in that, but she probably won't ever be fooled again. I
Yeah.
mean, I give her that. I do think she's learned from this, and she's protecting herself, and she was not falling back into that again.
You know what?
But
So here we go. Here was what's interesting about all that to me about her, because it's hard to read. I lived in the South for 9 years. All right, my parents have lived in the South since 1977. All right, it's always a running joke in our family that my parents lived in Beverly Hills for 35 years. Got in a car one day, drove to Tennessee, and never came back. And it's the Beverly Hillbillies in reverse. Okay,
right.
that's what we used
Uh-huh.
to say. All of a sudden, they're drinking in Dixie cups, and drinking out of Dixie cups. We used to joke. And you know what? And one thing about the South is when you meet someone like Brittany, one or two things you have to realize: either they're crazy smart, like they will play you with that Southern accent and fool you and read you like a book, and
Mhm.
next thing you know, you're going, man, I did not understand that they understood what was going on the whole time, or they really are dumb.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so but but
Right,
but people
right.
in the South, you really have to watch closely. And with Brittany, I wasn't sure. Is she playing the game? And then you realize, you know what? She's just innocent. She was naive. She didn't understand what she was getting into. Now her life is this, and now there's a kid involved, and now there's heartbreak all over the place.
Right. But let's also not forget is that if she didn't fall for him and stay with him, she wouldn't be where she is now. She wouldn't be on this TV shows, and this has rolled into more than one TV show now. She wouldn't be having the paycheck and living in the homes that she's living in. I mean, when she left
Yeah.
Jack, she went and
Sure.
rented herself a house in the Hollywood Hills,
Yeah.
you know, with a big view and a big pool, and so it's
It's
just,
designed kind of crazy.
huh?
That furniture set up kind of crazy.
Well,
It's,
the pool's kinda crazy. The pool's, like, falling apart. Have you noticed that there's, like, cracked tiles in there? And
the couch
yeah,
in front of the fireplace facing the wrong way is weird. Everything's a little weird in that place. Like, what the
yeah,
hell?
yeah. Well, I think it's temporary for her, let's hope. But, listen, she should get the house. Like, she should get the house.
Yeah,
Jackson's the one that should move out, but she probably doesn't wanna be in that bad energy. So, the other side of this whole coin is that she wouldn't have what she has now if she didn't go through this with Jax, and she wouldn't have her son, let's be honest.
sure.
So,
And
you
she
know
wouldn't trade that. Obviously, she wouldn't trade that.
yeah, she
Yeah.
wouldn't trade that. She loves that kid so much. So I just
I,
yeah.
I got to tell you, there are a lot of people on the show I dislike. I don't like Zach. I know you
Well,
said I don't watch What Happens Live. I
yeah.
didn't catch it. Number one, last year I was so thrown off by his hair. I couldn't understand. Was he wearing a hat or is that his
No,
hair?
that's his hair. He has, like,
I I,
really thick
I
hair.
realized it's his hair. It was so
Yeah.
bizarre to me that I'm like, it's too hot in LA to wear that hat. And then I'm looking at him going, I don't think that's a hat. I think it's his hair. And then I'd go back the next episode and go, I think it's a hat. But he is the most sensitive person I've ever seen in my life, to the point you just want to shake him, get a hold of yourself. Like that scene in Airplane where everyone walks by and smacks him. That's
Yeah.
I'm like, get a hold of yourself, man. He gets his feelings hurt so easily. It drives me a little crazy. It drives
Yeah,
me nuts.
he does, but I feel like he's genuine. He's one of the more genuine people there, though. It's sort of like I wasn't sure about him in the beginning, but I've really
You
like
like
grown
him?
to adore him. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
he get
funny.
accused of that hair being a wig a lot. Like people
Yeah,
really thought he was wearing a wig, but it's not. That's his hair.
it's kind
Um,
of crazy.
yeah, it is. That's just a
Well, he cut it this year in a way where you could tell it's his hair. The first season, I couldn't tell it was his hair. Looked like one of those like Russian hats, they, to stay
yeah,
warm. Yeah, it was a
yeah,
little nuts.
yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
Those people need a lot of
yeah,
more of that
yeah.
Willa bringing that sage and those mandalas into their life. So, I've got a great product alert. I'm so excited about this product because I've been wanting to get my hands on it for a long time. And there is a company called Glow Recipe, and they sell a dewy, like a dew bomb that is fantastic. I mean, I absolutely love it, but it's $35, and it's like a little bottle. So, this company, MCO Beauty, and I don't know, I'm sure a lot of people have heard about it. You can buy it. It's an Australian company, and you can buy it at Target. And they don't have it at my local Target, but I found myself in Irvine, and I
Really
stopped in the Target. Yeah, I had to return something, and I stopped there to kill some time, and they had the line. So I was so excited, and I purchased it up. It does not disappoint. So I got the Hydrate and Glow. It's the equivalent to the Glow Serum, Dew Balm, and the packaging is very similar. It's almost spot on for those who care about the packaging. I don't. I care about the inside. It's clean. It's a $12. It's
oh,
11.99.
nice.
Yes, and they have a toner that's, it closes your pores and gives you a glow, and they have, which I'm a sucker for, they've got a spray because I love that, especially, like, halfway through the day when you have makeup on, but you're feeling maybe a little dehydrated, a little dry, a little tired. You can spray it on over your makeup, and it gives you life again. You can buy all 3 of those for the price of the one little bottle of glow serum from, um from Glow Recipe. So MCO Beauty, Hydrate and Glow, love it. Absolutely love it. The one thing about it is you do have to love the watermelon smell because it is that famous watermelon, which I don't mind. I'm not big on heavy scents, but especially for the summer, you can put the spray in the fridge. And you spray yourself with this watermelon mist. I love it. I absolutely can't say enough about it. So the Ultra Dew Serum, Hydrate and Glow from MCO, their whole line is great. Also, they've got a great highlighter for anybody who likes highlighter. Check them out. Don't sleep on that company.
Good,
Yeah,
good,
really great. Really, really good to see people making clean, affordable products.
good deal. Good deal.
Yeah, love it.
All right, you want to get to mailbag?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's get to the mailbag. Again, it's perfectlytwistedpod.com. All you have to do is look at the top of the screen, and there's a mailbag right there, and you get your questions in. We have 5 questions from John today.
Okay,
Okay.
John. Yep.
Says, Nicole, are you a fan of superhero movies?
I'm not. Not at all. I'm not. I don't watch them. No. Mm-mm.
Was there
Sorry.
any was there any superhero that you were a fan of when you were a kid? That's just my random
Wonder
question.
Woman. I mean, I
Okay.
loved Wonder Woman, that TV show. I loved it. I love the Bionic Woman. I
Yeah,
don't know if she's a superhero, but kinda.
it is.
Yeah, right? So I love those 2 growing up, absolutely, but I can't sit and watch I
That
can't sit and watch 2 hours of superhero stuff. No,
that's
not
funny.
my jam.
My dad loved Linda Carter, so we watched Wonder Woman every week as a
Oh,
kid.
yeah.
Yeah,
She's great. That was so
yeah.
great. That was such a fun show.
Have you ever met Linda Carter? Just curious.
I don't think I have.
Okay.
I don't think I have. No,
Yeah.
what a gorgeous being though, huh?
All right, next one for you. Well, we'll follow up on this. Nicole, if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Ooh, okay. I go back and forth. I've been asked this one before. I go back and forth between being invisible
Yes,
or being able to teleport.
teleport would be cool as hell.
Teleport would be cool as hell, wouldn't it?
Yeah, think
Yeah.
about it. You could teleport. You could have dinner with your other daughter like 3 times a week.
Yeah. All the time. We
Yeah,
could teleport. We could have dinner on the Amalfi Coast.
yeah, yeah. I would. That's a
Teleport.
cool one. I've never heard anybody say that, but god dang it, it's genius. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've
Uh-huh.
heard. The pervs I know will all say X-ray vision, but
No, I don't want
um,
that. I don't
yeah.
want anything to do with that.
I've been to a nude beach. I don't want that either. Um,
No.
uh, yeah, teleport would be cool. Yeah, being
Yeah.
invisible, I always thought would be cool, and then now I don't think it would be
Right.
great because I really don't want to hear what people are going to say.
Right. Right. Agreed. That's why I was
Yeah,
like, that's a iffy one. But the teleport, yes, all day long.
right. That's
Mm.
it. Oh my gosh, yeah, I like that one. That's a good one. First
Yeah.
person I ever heard it say that. Okay, Nicole, on a scale of 1 to 10, how curious are you about space?
Oh, um, I'm completely just baffled by it, and I think it really puts life into perspective, like, on a deeper level, like, I think it's a good idea to remember, like, how small because we can feel so big in our problems, right? We can feel so drowning in sorrow and
Mm,
problems and stress, but when you put it all into perspective of, like, what a little speck, like, we are in the whole universe, it's so major and so calming and so, um, you know, eh, it's humbling and grounding, and I think that I'm a believer that there's gotta be life on other planets. How could there not be life? We're talking about something that goes on for affinity, like, what is affinity? What does that mean? That means it never ends, right?
yes.
Like, how can we be so self-centered that we think we're the only we're it?
Yeah.
Like, we're the chosen, we're the only things in this whole universe that goes on for infinity. Um, it's so wild to me that it's bigger than my brain
Yeah.
that, I find it miraculous, I find it wild, and anytime I'm feeling a certain kind of way, I remember, like, what a little speck and even what a little dot Earth is in the whole grand scheme of things,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Well, it's funny when I listen to people every time there's an election, people only think about their own little either house or community. They never even go broader than that. It's not always, what's good for the majority. It's never that. But it's always funny to me when you say think about that you're a speck. But I don't think people go really their brains don't go really that far out. They should, but
Yeah.
but they don't. That's interesting. I always have friends of mine who, and they aren't like Star Trek freaks or Star Wars freaks kind of guys. They're people that will say kind of what you said. Yeah, of course we aren't the only living beings. And I hope they come to Earth. And they say to me, and I go, I really don't want them coming to Earth. They go, what do you mean? And I said, traffic is terrible in LA already. Like we got enough traffic. I don't need more people from another planet now coming to
Right.
kind
Right, right, right.
of where I'm at. Selfish that way.
Yeah, no, I get that part. But also I think movies and things have scared people into thinking
Yeah.
that an alien is something that's gonna come down and, like, kill us all or
Yeah.
destroy us, right? Like, why it doesn't have to be like that either.
Yeah.
You
No, it
know,
doesn't.
it
No.
doesn't have to be like that. They might not even know we exist, they probably have no idea. So to think that do I think people are watching us? I don't know, maybe, but do I think that, there's probably other life form out there that has no idea about us? Yes. Yes, yes. Yes, I do.
All right. Next question is Nicole, what is your favorite way to spend a weekend?
Oh, wow. Well, that's it depends.
Changes, right?
Yeah, it really changes. I don't I can't I'm not somebody that can do the same thing all the time. I really love spending downtime and lazy time with, my kids or, being out in nature with no schedule and nowhere to be and no time, no time schedule or limitations on anything. And then other times I love to, run around and get a whole bunch of stuff done and do things with my daughter that I can't do during the week because she's in school all week, so we get things done and go sightsee or go thrifting or go to museums or whatever it is. So it just really kind of depends. But I guess ultimately it comes down to family time,
Yeah.
peace and quiet, like no agenda, no time schedule. I guess that's really where it's at.
Yeah,
You can
it's
just
funny.
be free.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, you ever, do something where whether it's just going to the beach and you're going, "That was a really great time. We should do that every weekend." And you're like, "I can't do that every weekend." Or just opposite. You stay home, you get so much done, so much accomplished. You're like, "I should be doing that at least one day out of the weekend." And then you realize, "I don't wanna do that either." Like, I'm with you. There's not one
Yeah.
thing you settle on.
No, it's a
Alright.
balance, right?
Yeah,
It's a balance. The weekends are for, like, what you need in your life.
yeah,
So if you've had a week where you need some peace and quiet, then you go to the beach, you go to the mountains, you go, to the
yeah.
lake, whatever it is. But other weeks where, you're, the house got away from you and it's messy, it's probably great to spend the weekend, cleaning up and decluttering and, yeah, it just depends on what you need, I think, for the week, but
That's why I'm a big fan, by the way, of the 4-day work week. Like, I honestly
yeah,
believe there should be, a 4-day work week. Instead of working 8 hours a day, you're working 10 hours a day. For the people who have 9 to 5 jobs, if they exist, and you go, let's say, Monday through Thursday. Well, number 1, it'll cut down on your commute. You aren't driving as much, you aren't burning as much fuel. But 2 is you have 3 days now to, whether it's 1 day to get your shit together and 2 days to enjoy yourself or whatever it is. If you're gonna travel, it makes it easier. I just don't understand how we haven't figured this out, that we should be having a 4-day week.
yeah. I I
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of people that
yeah,
agree with you.
yeah.
Yes.
All right, last question from John is, would you consider yourself a morning person or a night owl?
Oh, these days, right now, I'm a morning person. I am asleep. I am in bed and asleep. Very, very early. I just tire out, and I have to be up in the morning. So, I do carpool and pack lunch and do all that stuff, so I have to be up early, and also I deal a lot with people in New York. I just the mornings, it has to be a thing. So by the end of the day, I'm exhausted and I'm in bed.
Yeah,
When I was younger, I loved it being a night owl and being up and all of that, but it just nothing good happens after midnight.
yeah,
Nothing
right.
good happens, folks. So it's best to be asleep and wake up and have a productive morning.
That's funny. I read that. I read, what was it? One of those things on Instagram where they said, 30 is the new 20 and 40 is the new 30 and 9 o'clock is the new 12 o'clock, basically.
Yeah.
As you get older, if you fall asleep that way, it's funny. The other day I went to bed. My problem is I kind of burn it on both sides. I consider myself a morning person like you, but I find myself, I go to sleep really late and I wake up really early. Like, I go to
Oh.
bed at 12:31, but I wake up at 4:30 every day.
Oh, that's
So
not
it's
good.
so it's no, it's not good. And I can be honest, I'm so goddamn tired. My
Yeah.
dream right now is to check into a hotel, shut all the blinds, put the air conditioning as low as it goes, and stay there for 3 days without a clock. That is, I just want to catch up. I'm just so tired right now,
Well,
but
that's your
it,
weekend, Dave. That's what
it,
that's what Dave's
that would be a
weekend.
dream. That would be a dream
Yeah.
for me. But I saw the funniest thing that cracked me up the other day, and I don't know if it's our age, but the guy said, he goes, "I was asleep for 20 minutes before I heard coughing in my living room, and then I realized I told the pizza guy, 'Let me go get my wallet. I'll be right back.'" And he just decided to lay down and fell asleep for 20 minutes. And he heard a guy coughing, going, "Oh shit, I was supposed to go pay that guy."
What?
Yeah,
Oh my god.
and
Okay, that's next level tired. That's something I don't ever wanna know. Oh my god. No, that's
but
good. The guy could have robbed him
yeah,
blind.
could have robbed a blind. He was waiting for his tip. Oh my goodness. So
Like, I
anyway, that
never would have thought I never would have thought I would see the day where I would say I was a morning person. Like, if
yeah,
I'm being honest, I never thought that that would be a thing. But I do. I just feel I feel good when I wake up early and go to
right.
sleep early. Yeah.
Do you ever now, this is kind of crazy. During the week, do you ever find yourself, let's say you make it to 8 o'clock in the morning, even, do you feel like the rest of the world has already started and I'm behind? Do you start to panic now that you consider yourself a morning person? To go,
No.
everyone already started. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
No.
That's how I
No.
kind of, my head works that way. Like, I feel like I got to get up early because I want to get a head start on everyone else, or start when everyone else is starting. I start to feel like I lost 3 hours if I know, like, I try and operate a lot of times off East Coast time, like you have to work off East Coast time a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit, 8 o'clock is 11 o'clock there. Everyone has a head start.
Dave, I can't even tell you the last time I slept till 8 o'clock. So
Yeah.
I'm sitting here going, no, I don't do that because I don't sleep. I can't sleep till 8 o'clock. That would be a dream. No, No, I wake up early in the morning. I wake up about between 5:30 and 6:30 every day, no
Mm,
matter what. So the thing is I have to go to sleep earlier so that I get
yeah,
that sleep. We all know now how important sleep is. It's not just a
exactly.
thing like, oh, you're pampering yourself by getting adequate sleep. No, it's like a real thing. You
It
really
is.
have to you have to get your sleep. Um s- yeah, so no, I if I could get in bed at 6:30,
Oh,
seven
wow, that's
o'clock
awesome.
and watch some shows and
Yeah,
catch up on emails or,
yeah,
social texts and things like that. That's like my dream evening.
yeah.
Yeah, and asleep by 8:30, 9 o'clock. Oh, that's golden for me.
There you go. All right, John, appreciate that right there. Thanks for the questions. Again, perfectlytwistedpod.com. Look for the mailbag at the top of the screen and get your questions in. But John, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, John. Love it. And we are going to not be here next week. We are skipping a week. We've just got so much going on, and we're going to take a down week, but we will be back right after that with our 100th episode.
Wow, look at that.
We will have done 100. We're going to do 100 episodes the next time we're back. So, yay, confetti. So thank you for joining us. We love you, and give us a like, a follow, a comment, all of those things. And we will see you soon.